Can you survive on just $2 a day here in Vietnam? Well, I'm about to find out with just 50,000 dong to get a hot breakfast, lunch and dinner. No tourist spots, just real local street food. So let's go see how far this gets me and what we can eat. Right, first up, and just behind me over there is a local Bánh cuốn restaurant. Bánh cuốn are soft, gelatinous rice pancakes filled with pork and mushrooms and topped with shallots, fresh vegetables and luncheon meat. And then you have a fish sauce you put on top. Very popular local Vietnamese joint, and this spot we're going to is only 20,000 dong, so let's go check it out. So this is the rice roll station we've got going on here. This is where the lady cooks up the rice rolls themselves. Got the rice batter and an egg goes in as well. All right, here we are, first up with the challenge. We've got the Bánh cuốn. So let's try the rice roll pancake, dip it in this fish sauce to see how it tastes. Really tasty. Rice rolls are warm, freshly cooked, chewy and gelatinous. I quite like that texture. Very filling as well. Works well with the pork and the mushrooms inside. That fish sauce just adds a little bit of sweetness to it as well. Really enjoy Bánh cuốn. Another popular option is to have it with freshly cooked fried egg. Obviously costs a bit more. As we're on a budget today, we're just sticking with the classic and the cheapest price, which is the pork and mushroom filling. Then you get a generous portion of the vegetables and the luncheon meat as well. Let's add a whole bit together, so we're going to have the herbs, the luncheon meat, the bean sprouts and a bit of the rice roll itself. You've got a great bit of flavour from the herbs and the fish sauce. That luncheon meat is actually pretty good. Bit of crunch from the bean sprouts as well, and then you've got that chewy gelatinous texture from the rice roll pancakes. Really enjoyed that. Wasn't a huge fan of the pink luncheon meat, but everything else slapped. I'm going to give it a strong 7.5 out of 10. It's obviously not my favourite dish in Vietnam, but as far as basic breakfast go, on a budget, hits the spot. Right, 20k down, 30 to go. That Bánh cuốn was actually pretty filling, but I found something sweet and cheap just over there that should tie me over until dinner, so let's go check it out. Cháo. Soy ngọt? Soy ngọt? All right, so this is soy ngọt, which is 3 different types of sweet sticky rice with mung beans, sugar and peanuts. It normally comes with coconut as well, but I don't know if the lady was out of coconut today, like shredded desiccated coconut. That's what I've had it with before, but none of that today. Instead, she seems to have put a lot of extra sugar on. But yeah, it's a generous portion. I think it's definitely gonna fill me up until dinner time, and it's only 10,000 dong, which is incredibly cheap. So let's try it and see how it tastes. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I really like the texture of sticky rice. It's that warm, chewy, gelatinous taste. Something very comforting about it that I like. I eat sticky rice most days anyway. It is lacking in a bit of flavor. Like the bit I just tried was the rice and the mung beans. Mung beans do add a bit of texture and obviously added calories and protein, but it doesn't add much in terms of taste. And you do have the sugar and the peanuts, which do add that sweetness and a bit of crunch, but ultimately it's still a big amount of rice. But if you're on a budget and you need calories, could be a good go-to snack. When you actually mix in the peanuts and the sugar, it does bump up the taste actually. The peanuts are quite salty. You've got the sweetness from the sugar, so you've got a real sort of sweet and salty taste going on. It's certainly not going to win any awards, that one, but pretty tasty, good textures, very cheap and filling, and it should see me through till dinner time now. I'm giving soy ngọt 6.5 out of 10. Right, it's 5 p.m, the sun's just starting to set. I'm going to grab an early dinner. Still functioning, but I'm ready for something warm and hearty. And there's a popular stall just behind me, selling a classic local dish for just 20,000 dong, so let's go check it out. Cháo cô. What? Hello. Thank you. All right, so this is Cháo long. It's savoury rice porridge, pork offal and Vietnamese breadsticks. Sounds intense, but it's actually surprisingly tasty and very popular amongst the locals here in Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City. For only 20,000 dong, you get a big bowl full of the rich broth, the breadsticks, fresh herbs and vegetables, and the pork offal, which consists of Vietnamese type of black pudding, liver, kidney, intestines, and 2 other things, but blood pudding as well. So let's try it and see how it tastes. So I've had this a number of times from this stall, and broth is really tasty and moorish. It's like, it's got rice in, but it's also all about the broth. The broth is very meaty, salty, and it has a strong kick of pepper as well. Mixed in with the chili and the vegetables, it's just a very well-balanced, tasty dish. When I first tried it, I was obviously on the fence because there's a lot of types of meat in here that in the West we don't normally eat, but they're surprisingly common here in Southeast Asia, and they're pretty tasty as well. So I mixed in the chili. I think this piece of meat looks like liver. Yeah, it's definitely pork liver. Liver has a classic iron taste. It's quite mild though, and once you've eaten it a few times, the taste does kind of grow on you, and I actually quite like it. This right here is the blood pudding, which is congealed pig's blood. Again, it's very popular here. It doesn't have a huge amount of taste. It just has a kind of rich iron taste to it. You've also got a type of blood sausage. I'm not actually sure everything that is in this, but the best way I can describe it is similar to black pudding. Black pudding back in the UK has wheat added to it, but it has an almost bread-like texture and taste to it. Whereas this is mild. It might have like intestines as the outer layer, and then it's stuffed with a kind of meat and congealed blood mixture. Might sound off-putting, but it is actually quite nice. And then you've got this Vietnamese bread. It's kind of like fried dough. It's crispy on the outside, but then when it's added to a kind of broth soup dish like this, it soaks up all the flavour and turns soft with a bit of a crunch on the outside. It's really tasty. Chào mọi người. Very lovely, friendly, local vendor. All right, that definitely hit the spot. I'm going to give Cháo Lòng a solid 8 out of 10. I think of the 3 meals I've had today, it's definitely the tastiest with the rich, meaty broth, generous portion, nice breadsticks. So that's going to get the crown of these 3 meals for today. Do really like this dish. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the intestines, because I find they're quite chewy and hard, and I just don't really like that texture. But everything else is really nice. So it's one of those meals that you won't see too often on people's Instagrams and TikToks. But in my opinion, it's a hidden gem and a true local Vietnamese classic. You might also see on the sign as well, it says Cháo Lòng Bình Đẳng. That basically translates to Cháo Lòng for the people, because it's a classic, cheap and affordable meal that's delicious for the people. That's essentially what it translates to. All right, and that's it. The sun's setting here. It's been another beautiful day here in Saigon, and that's a full day of eating on less than $2. Is it sustainable long term? Definitely not. But if you're on a serious budget or just interested to see how far your money can get you here in Vietnam, it shows how far your money can go when you stick to just local street food joints. So would you try this challenge or these meals? Do you think you could survive on even less? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.